I can do this. I can do this. Ooh, haven't recorded a YouTube video since last March. I got this, right? I got this. A little bit of wine always helps. Okay, let's go. You guys, don't say you guys. Stop saying you guys. You cooperate. Please help cooperate. Thank you. Hello, my art tribe. First of all, I haven't posted a YouTube video tutorial since last March during the beginning of the pandemic, so I am so happy to be back. And another exciting thing about this video is that this is a tutorial on how to use my first foam grip kits. I've been working super hard on bringing you guys kits where you guys can have all sorts of items in there and follow along my tutorials, and I'm going to teach you today about layering your resin, making sure your items don't float, when to put your second layer on, how to put all the grips on the back end, so much more. So I'm super excited. Let's get to it and let's make some foam grips. But before we do that, I wanted to show you all the goodies that come in this kit. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I recently went on a journey to dry my own lemons and limes and fruits for you guys. And I'm really excited that the ones I created are in these boxes for you because they're really beautiful. My dad cuts them, I dehydrate them, and the ones you buy online kind of come broken and really dark, but these are just absolutely beautiful. You're gonna get 2 baggies of these florals that I love, the dried jasmine, and this, oh my god, you guys, this one smells so good. It's dried rose leaves and little buds in them, which is incredible. Of course, lavender, because I love using the lavender like as a little sprinkle, and it kind of brings all of the floral pieces that I make together. And y'all know I love my figs, so these beautiful fig cuts. I love my sparkles, so I have a blue and a pink iridescent shiny little sparkle, and my favorite green apple little glitter mix. So these are beautiful. And of course, I love my whimsical steampunk, and I love mixing all these items together. So you're gonna get a baggie of little steampunk dials and keys of all different sizes. You also get this little container full of pearl pigment. And then of course, the highlight of this box are these gorgeous, beautiful wood cutouts that my best friend Jamie from Leopard Spot Designs cut out for me. So we're gonna color these, and I'm gonna show you different options on how to do that as well. So you're also gonna get 6 sheets of leaves, 2 copper, 2 gold, and 2 silver. And of course, the essentials. You are going to get a mold like this that has 8 cavities in it. My favorite glue, the E6000, it's a 2-ounce bottle. Also included my favorite new reusable craft sticks. And of course, the foam grips, you're gonna get different colors of them. There's black, gray, and white. They also come with these like little discs, which I'm gonna show you how to put on and when to put on. So let's get started. On our apron before we start coloring. Make sure that our clothes don't get dirty from the paints and the resins and the inks that we're gonna use. All right, so as artists, you know, you can color and paint with so many different mediums. You can use paint, you can use alcohol inks, you can use markers, whatever you like, but these are some of my favorites to use to color these wood items. So let's talk about the alcohol ink first. I love my alcohol inks. I love my Jacquard product. There's Ranger ink, whatever kind you want to use. It's fantastic. Here's a little tip. I get these little containers. They're used usually for like condiments and stuff, and they have little lids. So what I like to do is add whatever color I like, and I add a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I add a little bit into that just so that the color is not super dark and super potent. And then also, if you don't finish it, you just put the lid on top. And like I've had this for a couple weeks now, it doesn't evaporate. So I bought this watercolor years and years ago. It's Artist Loft, which is a Michaels brand. It's just a liquid watercolor. So I usually also have a little watercolor brush. I make sure that the bristles on the brush are nice and clean and they're collected, nothing too fuzzy. Something else that I've found really effective and something that really works, especially on little wood pieces that have different designs. You guys know I love these. They're little applicator pens. They have little round metal tips on the sides, and I also, again, will dip this into the little bottles, and I'll be able to put the dots where I need to. So that's just a different option. These are again also sold in my shop. I have a bunch of different tools you guys can use for these projects and all of your projects on my shop. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. All right, makers, let's get going. But before we get started, alcohol ink stains your skin so badly and it's really tough to get out. So make sure you're wearing gloves. Let's get into it. So I have all my alcohol inks ready here, and let's start with the beautiful sunflower. It's super simple. All I really do is I will dip my brush into this watercolor, and look at how easily the color gets absorbed into the wood and it colors and dyes it right away. Look at how easy that was. All right, so I wanted to show you another example. So I also love using the little inks right out of the bottle. So let me show you how I do that. Super simple. I just run the bottle right across the surface and the ink will spread all over the surface of the little wood piece. Now the metallics take a little bit longer to dry, so you can set it down, and once it's absorbed and dried, if you feel like you want to do a second layer, you absolutely can. All right, so let's color some of these beautiful florals. So again, this is my green alcohol ink. So once again, just dab it on there, and you see you put a little bit and the ink just completely spreads and it absorbs it, and you have a beautiful little floral. So this area is a little bit smaller and I'm nervous my brush is going to be too thick, so I'm going to use my little tool. And look at that. So we're gonna let this sit for maybe half an hour. You wanna make sure that all your inks and your colors are super dry into your wood pieces before we put these into the resin. So now, as our little wood pieces are drying, friends, let's mix our resin. Now, it doesn't really matter what resin you use. I love using my flag system. I use the medium hardener. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love this system because it's more of a fast curing resin and I can add layers multiple times in a day. But you can also use your tabletop, you can use your Art Pro, really honestly whatever you feel comfortable with. But right now I'm going to use my reusable craft sticks that you get in your kits, which are very friendly for the earth. While you're mixing your resin, guys, make sure you're not whipping that resin so you don't get a lot of bubbles in there. But I'm going to mix this and show you how much we're going to pour in each little slot of our mold. All right, so now we're gonna add a little bit of resin into each cavity that we wanna use. And you're gonna see that I'm gonna pour it just in the middle and I'm gonna have that resin spread out to the edges. You don't want a super thick layer the first time. So let's do that first. Okay, so now this has been sitting for a few minutes and you can see there are little rings of bubbles that have collected to the top, and this is my favorite part of the whole process, y'all. So I'm gonna take my little alcohol spray bottle and I'm gonna spray a little bit on each one. Not too much, just a couple sprays, and you're gonna see that all of those bubbles are gonna absolutely disappear and you're gonna have a crystal clear resin on the little bottom of your mold. Now here is a very, very important step. You have to wait until your resin starts becoming quite tacky. Reason being is wood naturally holds air into it. Now my resin is still very liquidy. Now if I put this in here now, the resin is gonna wanna go into the wood piece. The wood is gonna absorb it, and whatever air is in it, it's gonna push it out into the resin. And when you demold this, you're gonna have a lot of bubbles here. You kind of have to use your own judgment and touch the resin and see how loose the resin still is and if it's starting to get tacky or not. So I just poured this just very recently. So I'm gonna use my craft stick again and show you it's super, super soft. So I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes at a time, and once I feel the resin is ready, I'm going to put these in. And once again, before I put these in, I'm gonna show you the viscosity of it and how tacky it is. Okay, so now I wanted to show you how sticky the resin was. So if you can see, you pull the resin up and that's quite tacky. So that is a perfect consistency to be able to start decorating. So I am going to start with the sunflower first. So I am going to take this, place it in the middle. And once your resin is a little bit tacky, you want to try your best not to move that around as much as possible, because it will create a little bit of bubbles when you do that. And now I am going to use the gold leaf, and I want to put some of that in the middle of the sunflower to give it a little bit of a fun little feel. So I find it really handy to use a little tweezer. Now these tweezers are sold on my website. I really love these. They're super heavy duty, super sharp, and they make it super easy to hold on to these little pieces. So let's do that. So you want to get your wood piece and very, very lightly push it into the resin. Let's use one of our pretty mandala pieces. Now I love that these are half pieces, and what you can do is put it on one half of the circle, and then you're gonna have the other side to decorate however you like. And I'm gonna add some jasmine and some florals to this because I think it's gonna be super pretty. And you know what? I'm gonna add a little bit of fig to that. So when I look at the fig, I always look on both sides because one side is usually a lot more open than the other, and you want your colorful side to be on the bottom. So I'm going to do that, and oh my goodness, this is going to be so pretty. So I love the rosebuds because they come with these fuller rosebuds too, and I kind of love this side of it. So I'm going to place that down so that eventually it's the front of our piece. I love these dials. Let's add a little bit more fig. Let's do another one that's just entirely just the fruits, because I mean, they are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take these lemons and we are going to cut them in little slices. Leaves here as well to just give it an extra little touch. Now again, I absolutely love my lavender. So you're going to sprinkle just a little bit of these. There we go. And I find it very helpful, since the little lavenders can not sink in at this point, I give them a tiny bit of touch to make sure that they're touching the resin. All right, makers, so this is the most important part. You have to wait until this bottom layer that we put is absolutely cured. If you can make a little indent with your nail or a craft stick, it is too early to pour your resin. Let me tell you why. When you pour your back resin, while that is curing, it's gonna get really, really hot because that's how resin cures. Now, if your bottom layer isn't fully cured yet and you pour that back layer, while that's curing and getting hot, it's gonna warm the bottom layer, and guess what's gonna happen? All of these pieces that you put in before, they're gonna float up and your resin is gonna sink into the bottom layer, and all those little items are gonna float to the top, and you're gonna have disaster pieces just like these. So I'm gonna show you a close-up, but once again, guys, you have to make sure that bottom layer is fully cured before you put the second one. So look at what happened here, exactly what I just told you guys. I didn't wait enough, and when I put that top layer, it heated up the bottom layer, all that resin sank to the top, it went through my mandala piece, my flowers are floating. I think the key was heavy enough that it stayed down, but it completely ruined it, and look at what happened here. When I first pour this, all of these items were under my resin, but again, because I didn't wait long enough, the bottom layer got hot from the last layer that I poured, and all my items started floating again. So we want to avoid this at all costs. So it's been hours since I poured this, and as you can see, my resin is nice and hard. I cannot make indents in. So on the sunflower one, I want a blue background, so I'm gonna use the blue glitter. And then I'm gonna mix two other colors. I want one to be a pearly white, and then the other one we're gonna make a little bit darker, a black with maybe a little bit of a glitter from the green. I'm also gonna add a touch of Mixol pigment. You can use any pigment that you like. This is what I love, it's my favorite. I also do sell the Mixols on my website, so if you're interested in that, you can go ahead to my shop. I love the Mixol #1, the black. It is the most potent black pigment ever. Just a drop or two gives you so much color, and a little bottle like this goes a long way. I'm gonna add just a touch of green. All right, friends, so just like before, we're not gonna use a torch. We're gonna let this sit a little bit and go ahead and just give it a little bit of an alcohol spray, and all those bubbles are going to disappear. And now we're gonna let this sit until it absolutely cures again. All right, makers, so we just unmolded our pieces and they are absolutely beautiful. I am so happy with the way they came out. Now, once you unmold them, they do have a tiny bit of a little lip, just as all casts do. So in your box, you're also gonna get a sheet of sandpaper, and I want to show you how easy it is just to sand that down slightly, just so it's not sharp. You just wanna hold down your sandpaper, get your piece, and just slightly you're gonna see now that this little rim is smooth and it's not gonna cut anybody's fingers while they're using it. You can either wash this or do a little bit of alcohol spray, wipe this down, and we're ready now to set the back. Now let's open our little grip package. Now, what you want to do on your grip is look for this side. This 3M side is the side that sticks to your phone. This side has a little sticky. What you want to do is take off this little paper. And you'll find that there's an adhesive here. Your package comes with these sheets. There's two sides to it. There's little dots and then the clear side. I like putting the clear side up. What you want to do is just place it here and give it a nice strong press. And now it's time for our glue. And this part is super easy and you don't really need a lot. What you do is you're going to get your grip. You want to put a little amount of your glue in the middle. You want to hold it down, place your grip on it, give it a nice squeeze, and then I like to turn it around just to make sure the glue is spreading evenly. So one last tip for you guys: before your grip fully dries, you want to make sure to look at the front, see which way the top and bottom is so that you place your grip correctly at the correct angle. Makers, our grips now have dried and I have shown you all of the steps, all of the tricks on how to make these perfect grips. I hope this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up and share with your friends. And once again, I am so grateful for all of you and I can't wait to bring you next week's tutorial.